What's up guys, Casey here, and welcome to my review for Omega Strikers. Omega Strikers is an action sport game. Think of something more in the line of air hockey, but with a little bit of League of Legends thrown in for good measure. It was released on September 16th of 2022, and it's pretty much available for every single platform that you can think of under the sun, including mobile like iOS and Android. It was developed and published by Odyssey Interactive. They haven't done a whole lot from what I can tell. This is possibly the first game that they have actively developed and published themselves. And honestly, it's surprisingly decent. So let's just jump into this and we'll kind of break it up by category, starting with gameplay. The gameplay is incredibly fast-paced and hectic, almost to a fault at times. The game lets you select from a very large roster of characters. I'd say at the moment we're looking at least 15 to 20 different characters, if not more. And they all have unique abilities. Some of them will let you dodge faster, run faster, hit multiple targets. And not only are you trying to hit this hockey puck or ball into the opponent's goal, but you're also kind of fighting with the enemy team to some extent. Your abilities can and will do damage to them. So you're kind of walking this fine line of hitting the ball and trying to score and trying to set up plays with your team, but also trying to avoid the enemy players and taking damage from their attacks. That's where the League of Legends style kind of comes in to some extent. It is very MOBA influenced. You don't unlock your abilities as you're progressing through, although there is a caveat to that. In ranked mode, you do get additional powers after each set of rounds to increase your abilities. But certain characters, like one of my favorite is Kai. He just kind of shoots out these big blasts, sort of like, I don't know, Kamehameha or Hadouken. And he has ranged attacks, he can dodge, run faster, and he's sort of the character that I've kind of clung to the most. Dubu is like a really good goalie. He is larger, a little bit slower, but has bigger AoE attacks. He can put up tofu walls essentially and stop the puck from being hit in and that sort of a deal. So like certain characters definitely specialize with certain positions. Speaking of which, there's goalie and forwards in this game, and then I guess if you want to throw anything else in, there's like maybe a striker position if you want, but the two official positions are goalie and forward. You can choose when going into matchmaking if you prefer to be a goalie or if you prefer to be a forward, or if you don't care, you can just select flex, which will allow you to hop between the two roles depending on what your team needs. Now, earlier I was saying that the gameplay is so fast it's almost to a fault at times, and this is where one of my first big gripes kind of comes into playing. Maybe I'm just getting old and my eyes are getting slow, but I have a tendency to lose track of my character pretty easily, especially when the going gets really hectic and really rough, and you kind of have like these little mosh pits of all the players kind of coming together trying to hit the ball. It can get really difficult, at least for me, to kind of see what the hell is even going on. Your name and health bar is green, so I started looking just for, if I see green, that's me, I know where I'm at, and it kind of helps to some extent. But I do have a tendency to kind of lose track of what is going on. Some abilities can even stop the ball dead in its tracks, and it just kind of sits on the field, and I don't even realize that it's happened until it's already moving again, usually straight forward towards my goal. The controls in the game are pretty simple. I would definitely say they are quick and easy to learn, very hard to master. So the way this plays is I use a controller. So the left thumbstick will have you running around, and the right thumbstick will have you aiming in the direction that you want your abilities to attack or the direction that you want to strike the ball in. It took me a little while to realize that the enemies cannot see where you're aiming, so that's good. So if you're worried about that, you can kind of play with your cards, close to your chest a little bit, so they don't always see where you're aiming. However, when you are activating an ability, they can see where that ability is going to strike, just not where you're planning to aim when you hit the ball. But the controls are pretty easy to learn for the most part. What takes longer is learning the intricacies of each and every character, because all of their abilities do something different. Left bumper, right bumper are two of your abilities, left trigger and right trigger, and then X as well will allow you to become evasive, which essentially means for a brief period of time you cannot take any damage. It's kind of like an oh shit switch. You flip that when you're in the middle of an attack, or getting attacked I should say, and it can get you out of some hairy situations. The controls, like I said, are pretty fluid, easy to learn, but they don't always make the most sense. One character will have a dash equipped to the left bumper, but another character, they will also have a dash ability, but it won't be the left bumper, if that makes any sense at all. So characters that have similar moves aren't always assigned the same buttons for those moves. So that's where kind of learning your specific character comes into play. Visually, the game looks pretty sharp. Colors are bright and vivid and colorful, and everything just kind of pops. Except for your own character when you're dogpiled underneath 5 other characters. But yeah, nothing to complain. Graphic style and just style in general looks pretty good. I actually really enjoy it. It's kind of leaning towards the cartoonish anime style. Speaking of anime, the opening cinematic for the game, and just any time that you see full like anime style cinematics going on in the game, those are actually drawn and animated by Trigger Studios. That's right, the same guys behind Kill la Kill, or most recently the Cyberpunk 2077 anime, Edgerunners. So that just adds an extra layer of awesomeness to the whole package, in my opinion. Sound design, the game has a tendency to kind of drone on with its music. I swear there only seems to be maybe one track in the whole game, and it just do 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 do. It just never ends. So I find myself wanting to instantly turn it off after about 30 to 45 seconds of it just going on loop. The sound design of characters, their voice acting is actually pretty good. A couple of them can be a little cringy at times, but overall I think the voice acting for what it is pretty spot on and adds a nice little bit of flair and life to the game. A lot of times with games like these, they don't always go the extra mile and include voice acting. It might just be like a text prompt that, goes up on screen. That's kind of just the deal. But another thing that I did notice is, I don't know if there's custom emotes in the game, but sometimes they can get a little intrusive. I saw one in particular that was of Charlie or Moist Critical, and they were just kind of spamming it, and it's rather large and it can obstruct a decent chunk of the screen and the field at any given time. And if you have multiple people all kind of just hammering on with it, it can get a little intrusive. I'm not sure if that's an option that you can turn off in the settings or not. I haven't really looked, because it hasn't really been a problem. Just every once in a while you do get that occasional BMer that just wants to kind of spam their emotes. All in all, I enjoyed my time with Omega Strikers so far, and I see myself coming back to it for the foreseeable future. Now the longevity of it is yet to be seen, but for a free-to-play game, I actually am really enjoying it. I think the quality is surprisingly high, the content is surprisingly rich, and the gameplay is surprisingly addicting, and I kind of feel the urge to want to go back to it. So let me know what you guys think about Omega Strikers if you've given it a try. Leave your favorite characters down in the comments down below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to click that thumbs up button. If you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing to stay up to date with my latest videos and reviews. So I will see you all in the next video and or live stream. Take care, everyone.